Does that mean we're on go?
Yeah.
We're on GO, folks.
We're on go.
We're on go.
Skirt,
How about
skirt.
you? How about you, Miss Golden?
Skirt, skirt, stop.
Skirt, skirt.
No, that's the wheels spinning when they're going.
Skirt. That's skirt. No, skirt, skirt.
No, skirt's what you wear.
I don't wear them.
Well, skirts what
saw you in a
girls
skirt.
wear.
Or a dress.
Women wear. Ladies.
I wear a
Ladies.
dress sometimes.
You wear a dress sometimes?
Yeah.
You had one on yesterday. When Dolores was sending me the video of you.
Oh yeah, because I tried to wear that with Chris, and he was like, "I don't need your booty hanging out. The dress goes to here." When we're off there, I'll tell you a story for that. Because I had to climb.
Is that
No, I had to climb up a truck one time, and I had a dress on, and it was a lifted truck. And well, you can figure the rest of
Oh,
that.
brother, yeah, yeah.
So that's, and I was like, it was one time I had to do.
Is that when your fan club got started?
Yes. Hello.
All right, folks. So back to the topic.
Yes. Puppies.
Puppies.
Yay! I love puppies.
Puppies, puppies, puppies. All right. So Kathy Sanchez, thank you, Kathy, wrote in with this tip. She's got a little beast that's gnawing on her like this little fella is. This is a Western Shepherd from our last litter. He's 11 weeks old, and he's very lovable, very affectionate, and he likes to chew a lot. So we're going to work on biting and other bad puppy habits. Right now he's kissing, so I won't get a chance to demonstrate, but I'm sure he'll cooperate and get to chewing and presenting bloody areas here in a moment. So what do? This is Jake, by the way. This one is a Black Bart baby, a collaboration with McDoty Farms German Shepherds, breeding some of the top working line shepherds, at least in this part of the world. Whew. So to expand our gene pool, we bred out to one of their exceptional dogs, and this is part of what came about 11 weeks ago.
You have any more litters coming up?
We got yes, we do, Sam. Thank you. We got. If you want to see working dogs, go to our YouTube page, and it says Western Shepherd Puppies is the title.
It's misleading, apparently.
Apparently, we had a complaint. We didn't see any puppies because the video is about the parents of the next litter, and you'll know one because she's a sidekick of Mr. Stan Smith himself, Oakley, his Western Shepherd, and then another Western Shepherd potential future foundation stud named Miles. And if you want to see an athlete that really knows how to be athletic, check out Western Shepherd Puppies on YouTube. It's a fairly recent video, so you should find it.
Yes, sir. And we have another one we have another litter coming after that as well.
We got another one coming after that. We're really interested in. It's a young female, and I mean the hips, neck, shoulders, back, spine. Her skeletal system is
solid.
Yeah, Petra. She is just really. We're hoping it's going to produce with Bart. We're going to produce a notch above everything. Of course, going more athletic than Miles and Oakley is going to be difficult, but hey, that's our goal. We're striving for perfection with every litter we put on the ground.
And she's a sable, right?
Yeah, she's a sable. So some dark
pretty.
sables or some brindles if people that like those colors.
And how do people get on the list for the Western Shepherds?
Pick up the telephone, call 817-483-2026. That number is public. You can call me during normal business hours. Pervs and lonely women, call me later at night.
What about your email?
Email, letter K, number 9, K9PS as in Pro Sports. K9PS@att.net. And you can email me, or you can call me, or you can look us up on our webpage, Cappel K9. And now we better get some information because Jake's getting restless here.
So we need to teach the puppies some manners.
Yeah, so let's go back to some basics. You know, Stan will tell you my favorite word in the world is why. I don't think anyone goes anywhere without why. You're too big. There you go.
It's too big to be a lap dog.
Yeah, he's only 11 weeks old. So, you know, if you understand why, I think you do a whole lot better job of getting things through, don't you think, Carrie?
Yeah, for the most part.
For the most part.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do, here's some basic ground rules for living with any dog, and especially raising your puppy. And I truly believe, it's always worked for me, so I just repeat the stuff I know that's worked.
You had like 1 or 2 dogs in your.
I maybe 7
Okay, that's
this
enough.
hour.
That's enough.
Yeah, this hour. So you're raising a thinking, feeling, emotional creature.
They don't think. They don't have feelings.
Oh yeah, they do. Oh yeah, they do. You don't think they have feelings? Just put a big old pepperoni down there in front of Jake, and then pick it up and give it to his litter mate. See, you'll see some feelings.
Sorry. Go ahead.
So what we're gonna do, all right, they're a pack animal, folks. Remember these basics. This is a pack animal. We are a societal animal. You have herd animals, pack animals, and societal animals. Societal animals are kind of a combination of herd and pack animals. You can go into that at a later date if someone requests it. But what you need to know about pack, all 3 of these groups, or the pack and the societal animals, is they are animals that on their own as single predators, unlike a predator, they might not make it. So they join together, humans and early wolves, so they could take down bigger sets of prey, right? But they have to work, they learn to work together. And the survival of their species was dependent on them learning to work together. The dogs that you see today would not be here if they could not work in a pack. And despite this popular alpha nonsense theory, dominance and all that nonsense, if they couldn't follow rules, they'd have wiped themselves out. Think about it. If all these wolf dogs and then later dogs, dingoes in Australia, Borneo wild singing dogs in Borneo, if all of them were trying to be the top dog and fighting, they'd be bleeding. And if they were bleeding, they'd be prone to infection.
They can just go to the vet.
Well, and that's the funny thing you mentioned. In the year 1297, I don't think we had vets or even Walgreens to get some antibiotics. So the species would have killed themselves off. So this
Random question: how many continents have dogs lived on, inhabited?
Oh yeah, that's how you discover success of a species. Good point.
What?
There's only 2 species that have inhabited successfully every continent, and that are humans and dogs. Think about it. We had dogs in North America. The Indians had them. We had dogs in South Africa. Northern Africa, Egypt, the greyhounds. They're just like labs.
So, my lap's not as big as Butch's.
Yeah. But even though we had all these dogs in North America and in Africa and everywhere else, we had gorillas in Africa, right? But were there ever gorillas in Chicago?
Well, there was that movie.
Without video, was there ever a gorilla? We don't see gorillas walking down the streets of Chicago when Lewis and Clark came over and started discovering the place, right?
They turned to humans. That's why.
That's oil man. Oh, that could get us into trouble talking
That's
here.
funny.
So yeah, we are the 2 species that really work together as a whole. I mean, work together to benefit the whole. So with that simple philosophy, your puppy, when you get him, should be very capable of learning to follow the rules of the pack. If they don't follow the rules of the pack, there's only one reason, because they are genetically pre-programmed to follow those rules. They're not only pre-programmed to follow the genetic rules of the pack, not peeing on your carpet, peeing outside, not biting your hand when you go to pedal. Not only are they genetically engineered to do that, to want to do that, they're born knowing everything you ever want to teach your dog.
So you don't actually teach your dog how to sit?
No, you don't teach him anything.
So what are we doing?
You just teach him when and where. You just tell him when and where you want him to do the sitting. They already know how to do it all.
So if the dog doesn't get how to sit, whose fault is it?
It's probably the humans. No, it's definitely the humans. You just couldn't, I'm gonna tell one story before we get to the biting.
Yeah.
My favorite dog trainer on the planet, Tony McCallum, greatest cow dog trainer in the world today, no doubt. And Tony will tell you, if you call and ask him, he will tell you I am correct. Hope you're listening, Tony.
Yes, sir.
Sharon, Say hello to Tony if you get a chance to see him down there in Australia. Tony tells a story. He was touring America with his cow dogs, and some gentleman in one of the farm states stood up at the big fairgrounds where they were doing the show and said, you know, hey, Mr. McCallum, I got one of your dogs. That's the dumbest dog I ever had in my life. And Tony goes, really, Mike? What's wrong with the dog? How old is the dog? He said, well, he's getting up there. It took me a year to teach him how to sit. And Tony said, I'm sure glad you taught him how to sit, Mike, because I'm sure his legs was tired from standing for that whole first year of his life. So, all we're teaching him is when and where, and we teach him the sound that means what the action's supposed to be. Simple as that.
So you don't have to speak their native language?
No, Dogless is difficult to speak. You know, it's like I would tell Stan, we're getting further away from puppies here, but, you know, I tell a lot of the customers, we're speaking English, they're speaking Dogless. You want a perfect relationship with your dog, learn to speak Dogless, right, Carrie?
Yeah.
But better you teach them English.
Yes.
It's not quite as clear, but once you learn Dogless, whenever you meet new people, you gotta sniff their butts. And then people will think you're strange, and you won't have as many friends, except your dogs, of course.
Right.
Who will be your best friend?
And then you'll be considered a butt sniffer.
Yeah, you're a butt sniffer. So how do we start getting the rules to these young pups? Remember, they're very good at a social, what they term social learning. Social learning simply means if something good happens when I'm doing this, I'm going to repeat that. If something bad happens when I do this, I'm going to quit doing that. That's the simplest form to put it. So you need a way to correct your puppy. The best way in the world to correct them is what I call scruffing. It's the closest thing you can get to correcting a puppy like his mama dog did without getting hair in your mouth. All right? So here we're going to do. Hey, Jake, come over here, buddy. Jake,
Pick that up.
come here, Jake. What do you got? Look at that recall. Oh, I'm telling you.
Oh.
Looks you're just in the wrong, all the wrong places. Woo! So I think he needs to go outside. He's gonna, Did he do it already?
Oh.
So it's too late to go outside.
Jesus.
For all you folks,
Oh, I didn't know if we could get up and leave. I would have picked it up.
yeah, for all
I
you
didn't want
folks,
to be rude.
for all you folks that are watching in color with sound, be glad we don't have smell-o-vision as well. Just take my word for it. Whoop! Doggies.
Oh my gosh, he did 2 big piles. What?
Yeah. We feed. I throw it outside, Stan.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it.
Whoa. Oh, no, it's a brand new.
Yeah.
Here, you
So
go.
anyway,
Oh, there you go.
what you're gonna do, I'll describe it first. What you're gonna do with Jake, you know, your puppy, is when they go to fight you,
Is that it?
Right
Did you
there.
get the...
timing is everything.
Oh, shit.
First you're gonna say, this is falling apart real quick, folks. I hope you don't mind.
Hey, that's the beauty of live. Keep talking, Butch.
You know, Joe Rogan ain't got the balls to have a puppy on his podcast. So
No.
only here will you see people foolish enough to have a puppy live on a podcast. All you professional podcasters. I turned that air conditioner over there on too, Stan.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, we.
Troy's okay.
Huh?
Hi, Troy.
Hey, Troy, you missed all the fun, buddy. Stan, what is that you poured on there?
Fabuloso.
Oh, okay.
Here we go, Jake.
Watch Jake. Jake, come here, buddy. Jake, come here. So we're gonna scruffing. Pick right Jake up, hand him to you. Come here, buddy. All right. So what we're gonna do? Mama dogs, when the puppy's a little milky, get real sharp, and they start walking up and grabbing a hold of the soda fountain.
For real.
Mama dog, because those teeth are sharp, will immediately
We
make
need air
a physical
freshener.
correction. You're gonna grab him by the throat. Scruffing is simply this. You're gonna grab this loose skin back here. Right now, he's acting
No.
a fool. He's not paying a bit of attention to me, so I'm not putting any pressure. But now you see, the minute I squeeze, you saw how he turned and gave me a kiss. That's the puppy's way of saying
You don't need to get in
yes,
that.
sir, or yes, ma'am. So what you can do
Nasty.
is give it a good squeeze, and if you need to, take your thumbnail and put a little bit of pressure. And I went from squeezing it to that thumb, and the minute I put a little thumbnail on there, kind of like Mama
You
Dog's
stink.
teeth, he turned around, looked at me, and gave me a kiss. That's his way of saying yes, sir, in this case, or yes, ma'am. So if you'd have said no before you before you tried that physical consequence, pretty soon after 3 or 4 tries, because they learn to associate things with sights and sounds, the sound of the word no would be as powerful as the scruff. If you scruff correctly. After that, once they've got that word down, they're starting to learn English that way. From there on, if they're jumping on the kids in the backyard 20 feet away, you go, puppy, no. If you've been conscientious and successful in scruffing and disciplining the pup, the minute he hears that word, it's going to be the same thing as you grabbing his neck and jamming a little thumbnail.
So are there different levels of scruffing?
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah. Let's take housebreaking, for instance, which we need to do with Jake apparently.
Yeah. That's next week's. That's next week's issue.
So when a mama dog, when she first corrects a pup for chewing on her, doing sharp teeth, she'll just pin her to the ground, and a lot of female dogs will kind of go, or wolf dogs will pin them and kind of go, So they'll make a little pop pop, which we later translate to our training college, the way we correct our dogs. However, when the pups get older and they're starting to run around and they get on the pack leader's nerves, because male older dogs do not do puppies well. They are the disciplinarians of the pack, and they teach them real quick. What they will do is, and the pup keep bugging them, they'll give them an opportunity by growling, and they'll get away from them as much as they can. But then when they just absolutely can't talk the pup out, they will grab them and literally pick their front feet up off the ground and give them a shake.
Okay.
Then they'll drop them.
So that's level 2.
That's level 2.
Okay.
Level 3 this is sort of my hybrid way. It's level 2 and the third thing. You pick the pup up, front end off the ground. This is what you're gonna do is he poops in the house. You give him a correction. Don't stick their nose in it, please. Give him a correction at the scene of the crime. No, just not real hard in rain. Just matter of fact, no, that's the wrong thing to do outside. The next day, that's where you're teaching. The next day you come home, there's another mess. Now you walk over to the pile. You can't correct the dog if they don't know what they did wrong. Or you can, but it ain't gonna get you nowhere.
Yeah.
So the next day you come home, there's a pile in the middle of the living room floor, and you go, puppy, come here. The puppy walks over there and he sees you standing by at the scene of the crime, so to speak. And then he kind of pins his ears and kind of ducks, and you know he's acting guilty. You have taught him that that's the wrong thing to do. Now it's fair to correct him.
Okay.
Now he's going to learn something. This is where you grab him and you can go 2 things. The third level is you pick his front 8 feet up off the ground and you stare at him till he looks away. Because when the pack leaders picked up the dogs and nailed them a few times, the next time they do wrong, he just stares at them. And when you look away, that's dog leash for yes sir, yes ma'am. So what you're going to do is you're going to bring him in, he's going to act guilty, you reach down and you go, no, timing is everything. Immediately follow with a firm, this time jab your thumbnail into their little scruff, and then put him outside, that's his actual punishment. The scruffing marks of behavior is bad. That was a bad action on my part. The punishment is putting him out in the backyard by himself, putting him, scraping him somewhere, isolating him. Don't believe this nonsense. You can't punish your dog in a crate. You don't hate going in a crate. No, they know better. So you can then start using the word no from a distance, because now he has learned clearly what that word means. And he's going to think whenever he hears no, I know what comes next.
So what I'm taking from this is you need to correct your dog when they're doing wrong, not substitute something like if they're biting on you, you go and give them a toy for them to bite on, or you give them a treat. Like,
What substitution or redirection?
Yeah, that's one of them.
That's the term that the behaviorists use. Redirect. All you get from redirection is the dog learns that if he bites you, he gets to play with his toy. And trust me, folks, I've had people come here and tell me that's what happened when they redirected. Now whenever he wants a treat, he'll just come up to me and just bite me right on the ankle till I scream really loud, and then he knows I'm going to go get him his treat or his tug toy.
Yeah.
But you're still bleeding, so what did you accomplish? You teach him the rules of the pack, and you don't have to worry about having a treat in your pocket all the time. time. You don't have to worry about having a tug toy for them to play with all the time. I mean, you know, there have been two dogs, border collies, one in the University of, I think, Vienna, and one right up here in Virginia, where these college professors didn't have, they were tired and had nothing else to do, and they started teaching their dogs things, and they discovered that these two border collies, the first one to do it was, I believe it was pretty sure it was Vienna, University of Vienna. This dog learned the names of 300 different, 200 different somewhat objects. The man in the University of Virginia, or somewhere, I'm pretty sure the University of Virginia retired from, and he'd been featured on National Geographic, and this dog knows 300 different, I mean, go get me the yellow bear with the pointed ear. He'll pick up the one with the pointed ear, not the one with the round ear. So, if these dogs can learn that many different words and objects, why can't your dog learn the word no? Do you have any trouble with your Western Shepherds?
No.
Did you ever teach them the word no?
I think I corrected my personal Western Shepherd, scruffing him 2, maybe 3 times at the most. I do remember 2 times, but it might have been 3. And when he was a puppy, and now I tell him no, and he'll completely stop what he's doing.
So you think it's been effective?
Yes,
What about running out of your front yard?
that's what I had to scruff him for one time.
Okay.
My neighbor had a Chihuahua, and we live in a cul-de-sac. So when he ran down the cul-de-sac, I wasn't really worried because, you know, don't chase your dog. They think it's a game. So I figured the Chihuahua would get to the end, and then the Chihuahua would go back home, and he'd come back. So I waited, and he came back, and that time I looked, like you said, I grabbed him and I lifted him up, and I looked him in his eye. I told him no. As soon as he looked away, he was. I let him go. He ran to the gate, and I think for the next week he wouldn't go past like my garage area. But now he won't. Like if he goes to the mailbox, like I just let him know. I just say ah, like I make a funny noise, and he comes back.
So
or I say no.
So he goes to the curb where the street starts, and that's as far as he goes.
Yeah, he won't. No,
So
that's because I
So-
scruffed him.
Is this scruffing a technique that you can only use on puppies?
no, you can use it. I use it on a Great Dane when I get on step ladder.
Because it's more psychological than it
It's
is.
psychological. That's the thing. You know, and a puppy will scream and holler like yes, woof woof, like you're cutting his ear off. But it's not physically harmful in any way, shape, form, or fashion. It's something that they understand.
Yeah.
And so they're complaining like kids do. But you know, in fact, I had this conversation earlier today. In fact, which gave me more fuel for this fire. I see, like right now, he's jumping up and licking, and he's starting to chew on me. Whoops! And then he backed off. He started, and then he thought better of it. So it's real simple, no. And you can let it right there with just a little gnaw, and I'm just going to do that. Just as a reminder, because you know that, don't you? You know what the word no means. You're learning all that stuff, aren't you? Like I explained to the gentleman I was talking to earlier, the way you raise your dog, the dog you get when he's grown up, is a direct relationship to how you raised him. It's real simple. If you have a kid, because he asked me, well, how do I know how to raise him? Well, you raise him with the rules of the pack. Because if you don't teach him, it's like if you have a kid who every morning he got up and walked into the kitchen and went over to, got a big old jar of sugar on the counter, and he reached in and put a handful in his mouth, right? As soon as he's big enough to walk, he just goes in and grabs it. So if you never said a word to that kid about sticking his hand in your sugar drawer, when would he quit? And how fat would he be when he finally quit? I mean, you know, you got to tell him. So it's the exact same thing with these pups. You got to let them know when they're crossing the line. It's wrong.
Hey,
And if you
no, sir. No.
it's like that right there. See,
Now he's mad at me because I told him no.
what?
Hey,
He's mad at you. What was he doing?
he was biting me.
Oh, he was biting her. So he was biting her, I didn't see it, and she told him no, scruffed him. Now he come up and complained, that's what that little last bit of barking was about. But he didn't go back to biting her arm, so,
Yeah.
you know,
So
he got
it's learning.
learned. Yeah,
Learning the rules.
yeah, simple as that, so, that's
It's a hat trick.
a hat trick. That's a hat trick. You know what hat tricks, they got them in hockey, that's how we scoring goals.
Yes, 3 goals. It's in soccer too.
Oh.
Football.
Football,
Yeah.
football, not to be confused with football.
Yeah, no.
Football. So you score 3 goals, it's a hat trick? What kind of hat?
I don't know that one. I didn't play that long.
Okay, well, I'm glad, no, I really have, I always wondered that. So
Let's look it up on Google. Google it.
Yeah, Google it. I
Reason
Google
why it's called
everything.
a hat trick. I don't know.
Bet you can't Google stop a puppy from biting and get a good answer.
Let me see.
Redirect.
Let's see
They'll
what
tell you to
Google.
redirect.
Let's see what Google
Let's
says.
see
What
Google
was the
says.
question?
Stop a puppy from biting. All right, folks, you're live.
How to stop a
in-house
puppy
experiment.
from biting.
Okay.
It just says it's. It gives a bunch of. I have to go to different websites, but it doesn't have a. Oh, it said, oh, there's certain methods of specific breeds.
Oh, breed specific.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, I should have known that.
Breeds.
Like if you have like a Chihuahua, you can't scruff it. You have to just. No. I don't know. I don't know what that means, but
It's
okay.
kind of like
Huh. Breed specific.
breed specific.
That's what
So-
it says.
so that's
Stop a
like
puppy from nipping. Breed Pacific.
Breed specific. Well, folks,
Oh.
you know, I had a friend of mine tell me one time, if you look at, like, if you're feeling bad, you look it up on the internet, all it's gonna say is, buy this or you're gonna die.
The internet.
Only 2 answers you're gonna find, right? So,
Yep.
use your own common sense. If you're looking at the internet, and there are definitely some trainers to be found out there, just, you know, and for me as well, when you hear a trainer say something you don't quite understand, ask them why.
Yeah.
And ask them to explain their technique and their method. And then use your own noggin to come up with the validity of it. And if it doesn't, you know, doesn't make sense to you, don't do it at all. That's what I can say. Scruffing is ideal for teaching dogs discipline when they're young puppies. It will allow you to communicate to your dog whenever they're doing something wrong. And it'll also keep your floor cleaner and all the blood back in your veins where it belongs. So,
Before we finish, let's give a definition of what a correction actually is, because it doesn't have to be just scruffing.
right. No, it does not. That's a great point, Stan. We use air horns. We use shake, rattle cans. We use clapping. See it look up. So here's your 2 elements for a proper correction. I'm glad you brought that up. 2 elements that must be present for correction to make an impression on the dog. It needs to be sudden. When the puppy runs up there and grabs on the mama, she doesn't go, "Oh, what are you doing? I don't think I like that." She goes, "Oh." It's like a snake bite strike. So sudden, and it should be startling, not painful. Pain teaches you. Oh, but he's not biting her again. He's striking her. All you learn from pain is all you learn from ouch is avoidance. So you don't need pain. You need to be sudden and startling. And then finally, just grab him like that. That will startle it. If he jumped on me and I had my which is my go-to #1 most famous video I guess you've ever done, is that I'd have gone, he'd go, holy look. So sudden startling. When you do those 2 things, it breaks the dog's attention from whatever stimulating him to do the wrong thing. He completely forgets about it. Now he's paying attention to you. Now you can put him out in the backyard to isolate him, and he can think back, ooh, when did things go wrong? Oh yeah, when I bit mama on the bumpers.
And they'll put 2 and 2 together because they're associative learners.
Exactly. So,
And then you should always remember, if you ain't having fun,
You ain't training dogs.
and if the dog ain't having fun,
We're doing it wrong.
so leave us some comments. Was there a question?
Yeah, somebody asked correction versus punishment.
Correction versus punishment? That's a good question. Great question. That's what I said. Your correction, in the first place, punishment has no place in training. Corrections, unfortunately, we think the two are interchangeable or the same thing. So I'm gonna correct you. Bang! You didn't sit. Well, that didn't correct nothing, that punished. A correction, by definition, I believe, if you'll pick up a dictionary or Google, a correction takes someone to a change of direction that brings success, in so many words.
Okay.
A punishment will intimidate or stop a behavior from happening. If you reach in that sugar jar, and I reach up and go, ah! That's not a correction, that's a punishment. But if I take your hand and say, here's a picture of a 463-pound, 12-year-old child rolling around in his bed, wishing he could get up and stick his hand in the sugar jar.
Yeah.
That's correcting. That's doing something to change the direction of the behavior. So corrections change the direction of the behavior. Punishments stop the action going on or the behavior going on. But after you punish them, you still got to go back and teach them. Never, ever worry about punishing failure. If you're training a dog, reward success. Punishment will come in. I'm not saying don't punish. There's not a place for it. But it will come in once the dog is trained and knows the rules. Carrie, her dog ran across the street when he knew he wasn't supposed to. She punished him. The Scruffing went beyond correction to punish. Right? Was he? What would you call that? Come to Jesus meeting?
Yeah, that's what that was.
Speak up a little bit there.
Yeah, that's what that was. We had right there in my front yard.
So that's when you would use a punishment, but not until the dog totally understands what they did wrong or what they did not or failed to do. That's when you punish. The rest of the time you correct.
So that goes into a good segue to the next podcast. So when coming up, we should talk about the 3 T's.
Yeah. If you want a foundation of the way we train, the way I train, it's the 3 T's. Once you learn the 3 T system, you will never fail at training any dog to do anything you ever wanted to do. So let's do this, man. What do you think, Golden?
Okay.
What?
Yes, let's do it.
Louder.
Oh, let's do it.
Hey.
Do it!
Carrie had a long night last night. She seems a little less bubbly today.
I'm trying to be professional.
Professional.
Isn't it not?
Appreciate you folks.
I'm very professional.
We will see you non-professionals next Thursday.
You see the pinky?
Have a good one.
Yeah, it's my pinky.